Hi, it's Counting Sheep, and a couple subscribers suggested that I color in the doodles, and I thought that was a great idea, and I love coloring these adult coloring books, and I had saved one set for me to play with. I told you guys on the other doodling video that I gave these away for Christmas. So I saved a set for me, and I'm going to color it in. And there's a couple different kinds of pens and pencils I like to use. So first I'll show you the watercolor pencils. I'm not going to use these on this one. They're super vivid, so I love them when I'm wanting to do vivid doodling coloring, and I've got a few that I've done, but I'm going to do the lighter watercolor pencils for this video. But I'll show you these just so you can see. It's Artist's Loft, which I think might be Michael's generic brand. I'm not sure. But they come with a fairly good set, and Michael's always has good coupons, so a good blend of colors. They don't have purple, which is kind of surprising, or lavender, anything in the purple family. They have blues, reds, browns, but greens, no purple. So I bought a separate Prismacolor pen in purple that also is like these pens. It has one tip that's a little sturdier and finer, and then the other end is more of a watercolor type pencil for broader strokes. And I tend to use this end the most because they're somewhat soft and somewhat hard, so you can do wide or you can do really narrow with them. So I like those, and I always get them on my hand when I work with them. I am incapable of keeping my hands clean when I'm coloring. These pens are very much the same. They're the same type of double-ended, double-tipped pins. And you can see they show them here. The finer tip and the broad tip. And these are Artist's Loft. I think I said that already. Watercolor dual tip markers. And the one end is like this. Maybe I'll flip this paper over so you can kind of see that you can do strokes, and then you can do really tiny strokes, and it's kind of nice that way. So if you're wanting to fill in a big broad area, it's pretty easy to do that. And I found that this paper wasn't as bad when I got these pens. They blended a little better onto this paper that I used, that I copied the coloring pages onto. I'm having trouble talking tonight. All right, so I'll show you the other end of these. Oops. And then I'm going to show you the pencils that I'm using, which are kind of fun. So there's the finer and harder tip. You can see that it really does make finer lines. Okay, now I'm going to flip this back over and play with my pencils, coloring pencils. Let me put this away. Maybe I'll play with this for a moment first, just kind of has a fun sound. Sometimes you don't notice the sounds that things are going to make until you start making the video. And then you start listening to things differently, which is cool. Lots of reds and oranges, which I tend to really be attracted to. I love those colors in that color range. And lots of blues and greens. You know, people are, of course, attracted to different colors if you've heard of like color therapy and that sort of thing. And I love the color purple, but I can't, like, I painted a room in one of my houses. It was a very unusual purple, and it wasn't quite lavender and it wasn't quite as deep as a purple. It was something in between. But I couldn't handle that room for more than 24 hours. It was a basement room, the family room, and painted it that color and was super excited about it, and then went in that room and it just really made me crazy. I couldn't handle it, so I painted it a blue that's probably just a little lighter than this. And then it just felt like sky blue, and I felt refreshed and happy whenever I was down there. So I definitely experienced being affected by color. All right, so those are the watercolor dual tip markers. I also like these, which are the pigment in these are more expensive, and the pigment in them is a little more intense and consistent. These are Winsor and Newton watercolor markers, and again they have the two tips. The broad, I got a little on my hand to show you how they look on my skin. And let's see if I can do that. Oh gosh, I pulled off the whole tip. Well, that's what the inside looks like. That's fascinating. So don't do that. Let's see if I can get this off. I guess that one's not going to come off. So this one has, if I could pull it off properly, this tip is the finer tip. All right, so I'll put that back in its case. These come generally in sets of 6, and I think I got these at Michael's as well. Now these pencils are what I'm going to use to doodle with. And there's 12 of them in this set. I'm sure you can get more. And they're Ergo Soft. Let's see, I'll pull those over. They're 12 Ergo Soft watercolor pencils, and they're coated. So the tip of them has a protective coating on them. And they're Statler, I'm not sure how you say that. And my sister sent these to me for Christmas, so I'm not sure where she got them, but I'm going to show you. They're kind of fun, the way they're set up. So they come in this great package. And the coating coats the color, and it makes the soft tip just a little sturdier, because soft watercolor pencils tend to break off easier. I think I've told you before I like the Prismacolor pencils best because they're very soft, but they're not watercolor pencils. So these are wonderful watercolor pencils that don't break quite so easily. And then this package is really ingenious, I think, very simple. It clips together after you open it, and that way you can keep your pencils upright, and it's easier to see them and pull them out and put them back. So there we go. I'm going to set those right over there, and I'm going to show you the pencils. I've got a green one and a blue one out here to start with. So I'm going to hold that up so hopefully, oops, you can see it, that there's a white coating around. And I hope it's not really lead. I can't imagine them really using lead. It says coated lead, but I think they just mean the actual, well, lead is what we're used to calling it, the center, the color, core. And it's got that white around it. And they're triangle shaped. And they get more vivid when you lay down color on them. Now, they work best on a little more textured paper than what I have. I've got more of a smooth surfaced paper, but I'm still going to color with them and play a little bit with the watercolor on top of it, or putting the water on top of the pencil. And my sister sent me for Christmas, one of my sisters, some really, she knew she's the one who talked to me into doing the coloring pages. So she sent me these pencils that I'm coloring with, and also some really nifty little water brushes that you just put water in. Maybe some of you have seen them. I had never seen them before, so I thought they were super cool. And I don't know where she got them. I should have asked her about that. But I'm betting you can get them now at any craft store, I'm sure. So they come in a set of 3, and unfortunately I don't know what the name of them are. They don't have the brand name on them. It just says Push. So, but they come in, I thought you're supposed to fill them with color, or that they turned color once you put the water in, but the way they work is they're just different sized brush tips, small, medium, and large, and you unscrew the tip, and you just fill up a glass of water, you squeeze these, and then suck the water into the handle, which is really cool because, let me screw that back on, because then you can take them anywhere with you. If you're just wanting to doodle and color, you take your pencils and your pens, and you don't even have to have water to clean it with or anything. I usually just clean it on another sheet with a couple strokes. You color, and then you brush this on top of the watercolor pencils, and it does watercolor. It makes it into the watercolor paint, so it's really very cool. And I'll show you that. Well, I can do it right now because I've done these greens already. So hopefully you can see the difference. They get a little more vivid once you lay down the water on them, and it smooths out the strokes. You don't see the pencil marks quite so much. And again, if you do this on textured paper, it has a little more of that watercolory look. It's harder to tell on this. And I almost think that on this type of paper, those markers work best, but I really like that the colors of the watercolor pencils are less vivid. I wanted to play with that because I did so many with the markers that were vivid, and I wanted to see something a little more pastel and light. So that's what I'm doing. So I'll play with this for a minute, and then I'll turn off the video and maybe turn it on toward the end when I'm doing the last bits of it just for fun. This is easier for large areas too, because you can just do some light pencil strokes, very loose and more sketchy scribbling kind of feel, and then smooth it out with this pen. You can see, I'll hold it up, you can see the pencil marks, and you can see where I've put the water on it and smoothed it out. So I kind of love that. I don't know if you can hear that brush stroking against the paper. It's pretty faint, but it's pleasant. And then with this pen, you just squeeze it very gently every once in a while to let water out of the tip. If you squeeze it too hard, obviously a big droplet comes out. I've done that plenty of times. But ideally, you just want a little bit to come out. Alright, I'm going to turn it off and I'll come back to you in a little bit. Okay, so I've got the one that I've been doing with the watercolor pencils, and you can see how much lighter it is. And then here's one that my son's girlfriend did with the watercolor pens. You can see how much more vivid that is. It's really bright and playful and feels like a celebration. I like it. And then but these are just more calming and soft. So just to give you an idea of both. And then I'm going to go back over and kind of touch up some, oh, I noticed a little spot of the yellow that I missed. I'm going to go back and touch up some things like I did with the dots here with the watercolor pens. But I kind of missed a little bit here, so I'm going to get this. So you can see I'm just going over the pencil to blend it. It just kind of gets rid of the white spots and the squiggly lines a little bit. And the colors are more vivid once they are wet. Okay. And then I usually just kind of go like that, and then I'm going to do the yellow. So I think I missed the yellows. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to do a little bit more dark green, and then I'll do the background and then some markers. And I'm going to do dark green on these little stripes that I did on the leaves. Okay, just about done. And then I don't know what color I want the background to be. I could do a high contrast. Oops. I could do a high contrast dark color. I don't know. I think I'm going to do something light. I think I'm going to do this kind of a peach color on the background. So, just going to super lightly pencil that in around and about. And it will just barely be noticeable, I imagine, when I put the water on it. Might not show up against that because that's the same color, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, I think I got all that. So for this one I'll use the larger pencil, or water brush. That's what it is, it's a water brush. Just still don't know what brand. And maybe these have been out forever. I don't know. Got a little too much red down there. There must have been some red on the tip of this. But I had never seen them before and was really excited when she sent that to me for Christmas. It was sunny today, which was so nice because it's just been raining nonstop for days on end. Actually, we've had about 3 good sunny days in a row. And then at the end of the day today, it clouded up again, and it's supposed to rain for another week. So it was nice to have a break from that. All right, and you can see this kind of paper gets pretty crinkly when it gets wet, so it's not ideal paper. The watercolor papers shrink back down, so they're really meant more for this kind of thing. But all right, I'm going to do a little bit of detailing with, we'll see how it goes. They may be too vivid, but we'll give them a try with the watercolor pens. Let me see. That's the color I want to do. It is. I'm going to just put some pink in these little tips of the flowers. And so I hope this inspires some of you to get coloring. I I go through a few years where I don't color at all, and then all of a sudden, when my son was little, I colored more because you sit and color with them a little bit, but I haven't colored in a long time, so it's been kind of fun. All right, you can see that's a little brighter, so I'm going to add some little accents around to kind of bring that color in a little bit more in other places. Let's see. I hope I'm not bumping my mic too much. I have that tendency, I know. I think I'll put some here over this color. It's an awfully bright color, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to color these little dots in. They're kind of hard to do with the pencils and water brush because they're so tiny. But these pens work perfect for that. Alright, let's see. Maybe I'll put it around the outside of this one. Yeah. And I hope I'm keeping the paper in the camera. I'm getting a kink in my neck from this, and so looking back at the camera is kind of hard for me. Okay. I haven't told many stories this round, have I? I seem to be caught up in the coloring so much that I'm not able to multitask and talk. Okay, I'm going to get a light blue. I'm going to try out a couple of these to make sure I've got the one I want. Very similar. I think I want this more turquoise color. And we'll see where I put it. I think I'll put it here. One of these I didn't get the little lines in. This one here, it's just got the stripe, but these others have little tiny lines inside of them, so I might go back over that with the pen later. Alright. And I love that one. Okay, let's see, maybe these little dots here. Maybe just a little bit of blue here. And I wish I could bring it into this somehow, but I'm not sure how. I think I'll end up messing it up. So I just need a little more of that pop on this side of it. Maybe I'll do this. And then I'll bring some over there as well. It's awfully bright. I think that's the thing to remember too as you're doing it, and I'll be the voice to remind you of that because I need to be reminded it's just a coloring page. It's okay if you get it wrong or it doesn't look the way you want it to. Like, I'm not loving this now that I've done it, but it's not a big deal. I can do others. It's just play. Okay, so there you go. I think you get the idea, and there's lots of different ways to play with coloring besides crayons. I'll just play with the paper a little bit and then I'll say goodnight.